thank you to Tim Poole and his crew for hosting me and inviting me. They should extend that invitation to a lot more people on the left, because looking at the views and interactions and engagement that video has received on his channel, it's much more than a lot of his recent other interviews with his usual lineup of guests. And I think there's a reason for that. So, he should have more people on if he's actually open to doing that. And again, thank you for hosting me.
Yes.
That's kind of a surprise, though, because it could go the other way. I feel like sometimes when people go on Rogan, like I think Burgess's Rogan appearance was, maybe I'm wrong about this, but my impression was that underperformed. So it's interesting. Like I'm looking here. What does that say? How many? Can you read that, Emma?
Nearly 500,000. 483. There you go. Look at that.
And the comment section is and not even going to talk about the content in the comment section, but compare how many comments that my discussion with Tim has received. Even compare it to, interestingly enough, Jamie Kilstein was on the next episode the next day. Check out those comments. Check out the comments from last week. Usually gets like 2,000, 3,000 comments on his live streams. Like I'm talking about after, not the chat, like the comments left on the video. And last I checked on my episode, there's 13,000 comments.
Whoa. Talk about engagement.
Here's one of the top liked replies with 227 likes. I absolutely love it when a hardcore leftist comes on. The discussion is never boring. Good job, guys.
Good job.
There you go.
Hardcore leftist. I was perusing the comments a little earlier, too, and unsurprisingly, a lot of Tim Poole fans like to put abstract quotes from philosophers and others in the replies, as opposed to talking about, I don't know, specific policy sets.
I was also laughing at the top tweets that were like, because I wanted to see some for like trending topics that night, and it was all just like, Tim Poole is debating this hysterical leftist.
Hysterical leftist. That's you.
Yeah.
I was like, every time I think of Matt Binder, that is what I think about. He's always pretty hysterical when he comes on
The funny thing is, because I also seen the exact opposite. This guy's calm demeanor was so irritating. He's so smug. I've seen that from some of them too, which is like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either I was a raving
hysterical
lunatic
and calm. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll start with one here. Here's the first segment we wanted to highlight from Binder's debate with Tim Poole, when the personhood of trans people comes up. Tim Poole makes a claim here that's immediately basically refuted by his other guest. It's pretty funny to watch this happen in real time.
The misgendering thing is clearly cut. Obviously, if we want to nitpick, you can talk about the various right-wing factions and what they believe.
I mean, if you don't agree that trans people exist when they clearly do, then I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know who said that on the right.
Yeah, I'm on the right. Look, I don't believe in the concept of transgenderism. I don't believe there's a difference between gender and sex. And I would say that Tim is making a descriptive statement. He's not saying that it's good or bad that Twitter has this specific policy. He's just saying that on the issue of transgenderism, Twitter has clearly taken a side. And their side is that a person's gender identity is a concept which supersedes their biological identity. Okay, that is a decision they made as a platform, which is a politically biased decision.
I mean, they're basically saying trans people exist, though, because if you take that away, then what do you? I'm not quite. I mean, I know what you're arguing, but you're basically saying it's biased against conservatives to admit that trans people exist by Twitter.
That's not what they're doing.
Yeah. Come on.
They're not saying trans people exist. They're saying you are forced to acknowledge that you believe this identity is their identity, even if you don't agree with that, or else you're not on the platform. Yeah, because that's what the misgendering policy is.
They're not even saying that. They're saying you have to use this language or we will ban you.
Okay.
Conservatives say, I do not believe in the use of that language. And it's overt. I mean, I would say 99 out of 100 conservatives would be like, I'm not going to use preferred pronouns. If Twitter's rules are in line with your worldview or a progressive worldview, they're biased against conservatives. I don't think we're arguing. I think we agree on that.
I mean, I don't think it's biased against conservatives, to be quite honest. But we could go in circles on this, or we could just, it's up to you. So
you think conservatives are you're not making sense.
I mean, what do you mean? If you basically tell someone,
we know conservatives don't use the concept of misgendering. We know conservatives will call a trans woman he, right?
Yes. Therefore,
Twitter's rules are not fitting what conservatives do and think on a daily basis.
He got a little red here.
I mean, you could argue
it is like it's 1 + 1 = 2. It's like just right there in front of you.
You could argue that about anything, though.
Yeah.
What do you mean, like what?
So just pause it for a sec because, like, I mean, Binder, I want you to weigh in, but to me, that's just like a hallmark of conservative aggrievement. If you are not bending to my will and you're not allowing me to engage in the discourse with other people in the way that I prefer, even though it's about their identity, not the conservative who's speaking, I am the victim. I am the victim, and thus I am the victim of bias on Twitter. That's kind of what it came down to, and it was hilarious, too, how, like, Poole made a claim, and immediately the other guest was like, "No, I don't acknowledge trans people have trans identities." So,
I just want to weigh in quickly. I'm on the right, and I actually don't do that.
Yeah, I'm on the right, and I actually am exactly what Binder describes.
Also,
there.
Binder, who is that guy, by the way?
That's Seamus. He's a new regular on the Tim Poole show. He has a YouTube channel of his own where he does like animations. They were very nice in person to me, but obviously, we vehemently disagree, I should say, on a plethora of things. Well, and here, the thing here for me was, I mean, you could actually be. And you could be a transphobe on Twitter. I mean, I don't think I got this clear through to them clearly, but you can be a transphobe on Twitter. The policy says you can't like go after someone, harass them. Like you can't reply a trans person, just keep going, keep referring to them as whatever gender identity that you want. Like you can't call a trans woman he over and over again, replying to them. That's the policy. And
that's harassment, as opposed to like an offhand, I'm going to be a jerk and refer to this trans man as she.
Right. I mean, that's why I don't think like necessarily you could argue it's bias against conservatives. I mean, TERFs don't consider themselves to be conservative. They consider themselves to be radical feminists. This policy of Twitter's would clearly affect them too.
100%.
Also, does he just not think that like intersex people exist? Like, I don't understand.
They deny it. They literally, it breaks their brain, and they're unable to hate trans people, so they pretend that's not.
But that's just like that's just like. I mean, anybody knows that that's not true.
Is the next portion or after that? If you played it a little bit more, Bradley, is that the part where I bring up racial slurs?
All right.
Let's see where we go with this.
Exactly.
You can't say the N-word on Twitter.
There we go.
And do conservatives want to say the N-word?
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Oh, please. They do.
See,
not all conservatives, but the subsection of Twitter that does want to is certainly on the right.
There are people who like using bad words on the right. There are people who like using bad words on the left.
Bad words.
I'm not going to make a blanket statement that every leftist wants to advocate for Antifa going and killing people, but there's certainly Antifa that go around advocating for killing people, right?
Press, you can stop it there when we get to the next part. But for that, I want to say, I mean, Twitter definitely has rules against advocating for violence or stoking violence on its platform.
Right.
I mean, that's I didn't catch it at the time when he said that, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I mean, does that mean that they're
that's why
biased against Antifa?
Is banned from Twitter, right? I mean, oh wait, it's not an actual organization.
And nobody has said like I support Antifa and their forthcoming assassination program. Like nobody.
Right.
Find a single person that's made that argument. I'd be shocked if there's.
And the people who want to say the N-word, like, come on. I mean, I knew he would go that direction, obviously, but I mean. Whenever someone complains that they can't say that word and it's not fair that black people do, what is that person's politics? What is that person's politics?
Nah, it's just like the same as a person on the left who wants to, say a naughty word just to piss off their parents, right? That's the
also,
same thing.
I don't know any words that the left wants to say. I can't think of it. Can you guys? Maybe there is. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any.
I don't. Yeah, it's a very.
He couldn't because he went to Antifa's death threats, which are
I kind of want to call Tim a bitch, and I know that it's not really PC to say that anymore, so I won't do it.
Okay.
That's censored.
I admire your restraint, Matt. Let's go to topic number 2 here. Here's Tim Poole and the great Matt Binder here. Talking about racism and racial identity, in which Tim Poole has to, because this is his seemingly only tactic, engage in hypotheticals, where he talks about an all-white class hypothetically discussing history